The moon is what it is. What does it have to do with us and our planet? The moon is the only natural satellite of the year and is the closest moon to the sun. The average distance of the moon from the Earth is 385,000 kilometers. The closest is 363,000 kilometers and the furthest is 405,000 kilometers. The diameter of the moon is 3,476 kilometers. The diameter of the Earth is 12,765 kilometers and it is 3 times larger than the moon. The circumference of the moon is 10,879 kilometers and the circumference of the Earth is 40,000 kilometers. Our moon is the 5th largest moon in the solar system. Jupiter's moon Ganymede is in first place. Its diameter is 5,262 kilometers. Saturn's moon Titan is in second place. Its diameter is 5,150 kilometers. Jupiter's moon Callisto is in third place. Its diameter is 4,821 kilometers. In the fourth place is another moon of Jupiter, Io. Its diameter is 3,643 kilometers. Our month is definitely in the 5th place. It has a diameter of 3,476 kilometers, and the solar system has many moons smaller than our moon. The surface of the planet Earth is 510 million square kilometers, and the surface of the moon is 38 million square kilometers. If we compare the surface of the moon is equal to the continent of Africa plus Australia. Number 1 has many connections with the moon. For example, the moon is the first natural body close to the Earth, the first moon closest to the sun, and the moon is the first hottest of all the moons in the solar system. And the first atom in the periodic table looks like hydrogen. But there is a difference in weight. The difference is that the Earth is 81 times heavier than the moon, and a proton is 1,836 times heavier than an electron. The speed of rotation of the moon around its axis is 27 days 7 hours 43 minutes, that is, the length of the day at the equator of the moon is 13 days 15 hours 30 minutes. And the night is also 13 days 15 hours 30 minutes. The speed of rotation of the moon along its axis at the equator is 16.6 kilometers per hour. The rotation speed of our planet at the equator is 1,674 kilometers per hour. This speed is almost 2 times faster than the speed of passenger planes. It takes 29 days, 12 hours, and 44 minutes for the moon to go around the Earth, that is, to complete its orbit. The length of the moon's orbit is 2,413,402 kilometers and the moon moves along its orbit at a speed of 1,022 meters per second. This corresponds to the speed of the fastest fighter plane, but the moon does not have an engine. The temperature on the moon is very different compared to the Earth. The hottest temperature on the moon is plus 127 degrees centigrade at the equator and minus 173 degrees centigrade at the equator of the dark side. It's even colder at the poles. The temperature at the North Pole is minus 247 degrees centigrade and the temperature at the South Pole is minus 238 degrees centigrade, which is colder than Pluto. The average temperature of the month is minus 23 degrees centigrade. The hottest temperature on Earth plus 58 degrees centigrade was recorded in 1922 in the Libyan desert. The coldest temperature on Earth was found in the eastern part of the Queen Maud Land in Antarctica, where the temperature dropped to minus 94 degrees centigrade. The average temperature of our planet is plus 16 degrees centigrade. The reason for the difference in temperature on the surface of the Moon is the long duration of day and night on the Moon and the absence of an atmosphere. Also, there is no seasonal change in the month. This is because the ecliptic deviation angle of the Moon is 1.5 degree, so sunlight never falls on the craters of the lunar poles. Since the angle of ecliptic deviation of our planet is 23.4 degrees, there is a change of season on our Earth. Therefore, even in the Arctic and Antarctica, sunlight falls in its season. The gravitational force of the Moon is 6 times weaker than that of the Earth, that is, something weighing 6 kilograms on the ground weighs 1 kilogram on the surface of the Moon. For example, a person who can lift a 50-kilogram load on our planet can lift a 300-kilogram load on the surface of the Moon. Another reason for the Moon's popularity is the solar eclipse. Sometimes, as the Moon's orbit changes, the Moon falls between the Earth and the Sun. At that time, the Moon's halo blocks the Sun. During a solar eclipse, the Moon covers almost 100% of the Sun's surface. This is because the diameter of the Moon is 400 times smaller than the diameter of the Sun, and it is almost 400 times closer to our planet than the Sun. The reason we say almost is that the distance between the Moon and the Sun changes. When the Sun and the Moon are at an average distance to our planet, the Sun has 98.9% of the size of the Moon. When the Moon is closest to our planet and the Sun is farthest from our planet, the Sun is 86.8% the size of the Moon. When the Moon is farthest from our planet and closest to the Sun, the Moon is 89.3% the size of the Sun. Of course, the visible magnitude of the Sun and the Moon can only be seen from our planet with special technologies. Of these two, only the Moon can be seen with the naked eye. This is because the Sun shines 465,000 times more strongly than the Moon, and the Moon only reflects the light from the Sun. Even in the reflection process, it reflects only 7.3% of the light from the Sun. The rest of the rays are absorbed by the rocks and soil of the Moon. If you look at the Sun with an ordinary eye, the light of the Sun, unlike the Moon, is more harmful to the eyes. It has been found that a person who stares straight at the Sun for 40 seconds becomes completely blind. There are so many wonders in existence, and they are certainly innumerable. The more you know about them, the more you don't know than you do. One of these wonders, and the one that most people notice, is the huge and very bright stars in the distance, and the planets of various appearances. Of course, this is the Moon in our sky.